The chances of winning the lottery are so low, and it's projected that in 2022, there's a 1 in 302.6 million chance of winning the Mega Millions lottery, while the odds of winning the Powerball jackpot are only 1 in 292.5 million. This also means that anyone can win the lottery, and we mean anyone. In today's video is all about the inspiring stories of individuals who were previously homeless, but their luck turned along with their lives. Laszlo Andrashek, $2.5 million. Laszlo undoubtedly won one of the largest winnings from playing the lottery. But the thing that made his story stand out was what he opted to do with his winnings. A recovering alcoholic in debt, Laszlo had been homeless for about 7 years, and his life was described as one in which he was always trying all he could to plug the holes, but he only ended up making new holes. He became homeless for another year, and like any foolish person, Laszlo made a stop at a train station while heading to Budapest. He used his last coins to purchase a lottery ticket, and the ticket turned out to be one of the biggest winnings that he never even imagined. The ticket turned his life around though, as it won him 636 million Hungarian forints, which equals $2.5 million. As mentioned above, it's what he did with the money that really made the news, not his previous sad story, which broke in 2017 after he made a huge donation to a homeless shelter that he'd previously lived in with his wife. Michael Engfors, $500,000. Aged 61 years old, Michael Engfors from Aspen, Colorado won the lottery. He had been homeless for about 6 years after he lost his business and after his divorce. But he didn't let misfortune get in the way or dampen his spirits. As described by Gabby Garcia, a gas station clerk, Engfors played the lottery regularly and would win $1 or $2. And though you may argue that he may have spent his money on other things, his patience finally paid off, and he beat the odds, winning $500,000 on his lucky $10 ticket. No one's luck turns that much overnight, and Michael Engfors was the luckiest person that day. But that is not the most heartwarming bit. The best part about Michael's story is that he didn't go all out to buy an expensive home or even put money back into his business. Instead, Michael went out to find his daughter, who he hadn't seen in more than 20 years. And yes, he was reunited with his daughter. Victor Herrara, $250,000. Despite the hot summers and the high number of jackpot winners, Florida is also a place that most people consider home. Unfortunately, what you consider home may not be as permanent as one may hope, as Victor Herrara found out after his divorce. While he and his son had been taken in by his sister, the apartment was quite cramped and it lacked air conditioning between they got there. So, add these to Florida heat and his life was not like anything he'd expected or planned. One of the nights was particularly hot and he couldn't sleep, so he decided to walk to the store for a bag of ice. He came out with a lottery ticket instead, but not just any lottery ticket, but a winning $250,000 ticket. Obviously, this wouldn't have come to his life at a better time, and so he purchased his own home with the money, obviously with air conditioning. Emily Reyes, $200,000. Just off of Route 66, something magical happened to Emily Reyes, who was, at the time, one of the most unlucky people to get their lucky break. Addicted to alcohol and drugs, desperate and homeless, Emily had hit her rock bottom, even ending up in prison after she had to steal to support her bad habits. She was released from Amarillo jail, and after this, she surprised even herself by opting to buckle down and take on the big task of putting her life back together, albeit with minimal support system. She not only checked herself into a safe women's homeless shelter, but she then successfully clawed her way out of bad habits and into sobriety. As she celebrated her 6 months of sobriety, she bought a lottery ticket from Texas State. In the wildest stroke of luck, Emily won a $200,000 ticket after matching all the 4 numbers from the Thursday draw. With her mind set in the right direction, she used the winnings to get a fresh start, and also paid forward some of her winnings to help out the other women living at the shelter. Lucky former construction worker, $200,000. In 2002, a worker from Greenville, South Carolina, had his luck turn around when he won a whopping $200,000 in the scratch-off lottery ticket game. Although he wanted to remain anonymous, the homeless man was beyond ecstatic, jumping up and down after the announcement. But he didn't overspend his big win from the $10 scratch ticket. He used the money to support himself as well as his family. His history was quite as interesting though. He previously worked in construction, but then things got rough and he moved to a rescue mission. But then he struggled a lot to get on his feet, until he won the lottery. Grant Freeman, $180,000. Technically, Grant shouldn't have won the lottery, since there's no real lottery in Nevada. But he was an avid gambler and made his way to Las Vegas, with his head held up high as he hoped to win. But he wasn't so lucky in his trip to Las Vegas and lost everything, so he had to live on the streets begging. Despite having to beg for change from tourists, he didn't use the money on food, but spent every spare cent on the slot machines, every single night. He couldn't do it for too long though, and his very unhealthy lifestyle took a toll. Eventually, he chose to change locations and hitchhiked his way to California, where he bought 2 Mega Millions lottery tickets. And that is where his luck turned around. He actually won both of the lottery tickets he purchased. One was worth $8, and the other ticket was worth $180,000. And like most other people who have been through the ringer, he turned his life around after the win. He lives well, but he still buys a lottery ticket occasionally. Dennis Mahurin, $50,000. While he had been homeless for years, specifically since 1978, Dennis Mahurin got lucky 25 years later when she won the $50,000 lottery in 2013. Unlike other lottery winners who may have paid for a car or a new apartment, the only thing he did with the winnings was an upgrade on his living conditions to a tent. Also, thanks to the cash, he planned to visit his son and also to get some dental work done. So despite his win, he didn't really change, and the other cool thing that he did was to give his friends $100 each. He joked at some point that he'd start to get new friends after the win, but for someone who knew what it meant to hit rock bottom, he understood very well the meaning of paying it forward, and also that luck would be by your side if you were kind. Crystal Nelson, $50,000. In July 2017, Crystal lived in a cramped truck when she found out that she won the whole $50,000 on her Powerball lottery ticket. The shocking and obviously life-changing win notwithstanding, Crystal didn't change much about her life. She didn't make any big impulse purchases and wasn't in a hurry to find a new apartment. Instead, she considered buying a new car and also helped to pay off her brother's house, which was a super cool thing to do. Very few people who have lived in their car for 5 months and won the lottery would consider getting a home before helping others. Eric from Magic of Rahat, $40,000. Technically, Eric didn't win the lottery, but this homeless man made his way to internet stardom after he was featured on the hit YouTube channel called Magic of Rahat. In the video, Magic of Rahat gave Eric a lottery ticket, and also gave a clerk $1,000 for Eric to experience what it felt like to win the lottery. This action melted hearts globally, and Eric burst into tears, even offering Magic of Rahat some of his winnings. And so, touched by his selflessness despite being homeless, the internet banded to raise money for Eric, with a goal of $20,000. This goal was exceeded, and they raised a total of $40,000 for Eric to be back on his feet. Most of the money was used to rent an apartment and also to furnish it, with the balance put in a bank account that would be monitored.